to talk about muting. Muting keeps your playing nice and clean, and it stops the dreaded open string noise from popping out when we're soloing. So let's talk about muting. We're going to talk about left hand muting and right hand muting. Both are really important. The left hand muting gets overlooked quite a bit, and let's cover this by playing an A minor pentatonic scale again. Now, the key when I play any note on the guitar with any finger, I generally try to have that finger muting the string below it and the strings above it. So let's try this. We're going to fret the 5th fret on the G string here. So if I fretted it normally without any concerns of muting, I fret it like that. The D string is open there and it could ring out if I hit it. The B and E strings can ring out and it just would sound like a mess. So if I played a phrase like that without any muting, you can hear all those strings ringing out, and we want to try to avoid that. So what we do, when we play that first finger note, we're going to play in such a way that the tip of our first finger hits the D string and mutes it. If I pick that D string now, you can't hear it ring out, right? That's muted. The first finger will also be a little flat right here, okay? I'm not going to bar it down like when we play a chord, because then these notes might ring. But if I flatten it just a little bit, these two strings will be muted out as well, okay? So when I pick this note, my first finger is muting the D string and the B and E strings. Okay? Now, the other two strings, the E and A strings, will be muted by my right hand, and we'll cover that in the next segment. But let me talk a little bit more about left hand. Now, to achieve this, it takes a lot of really slow practice at first. I first became aware of this in an Eric Johnson interview when he talked about this muting technique, and it really helped me because whenever I played fast runs, I would always hear these kind of sounds come out. All that slop in there, you know, and then when I learned this technique, everything cleaned up. So, what you want to do to practice this is to run through a scale. It could be any scale, but let's do A minor pentatonic to keep it simple. When you cross strings, make sure that that tip of your first finger is muting the E string when you go to the A string. Same thing when you go to the D string, the A string is going to be muted. Now, this does a couple things. It keeps it muted, but it also makes you move less with the left hand. Let me show you what I mean. If I don't try to mute, and I just move my finger over, you can see that my left hand finger is moving way farther than it would if I was muting. So my left hand first finger is jumping strings. I'm barely moving that finger. That's the case too if I play like a 3-note per string major scale. Yeah, super important technique. So now let's talk about right hand muting. The right hand for me is going to generally get the low 2 strings, especially when I'm playing up high. Now what you do is very similar to a palm muting technique. You take the side of our hand here, place it on the strings near the bridge, and that's going to mute these 3 bottom strings out for us. Now say if I want to hit a note on the B string, 5th fret, when I pick that note, you can see right here, the side of my palm is muting the E, A, D, and even part of the G string there too, right? And again, I'm going to combine the muting technique, so when I play that first finger on the 5th fret of the B string, it's going to mute the G as well. One really good exercise to check if you're muting everything properly is to rake through all these 5 strings and strike that note on the B string. Make sure no open string pops out like this. One more tip about this. When you do rake through, what you want to do is when you get to that B string, you're going to lift your hand up this way a little bit, and that note will pop out. Same thing if we did the G string. So now, especially when we're on higher strings, Now, in this case, my right hand, when I'm on that high E string on vibrato, you see this part of my thumb here is now on all these bottom 4 strings. And my first finger is muting the B string out. Okay, so if you put these two techniques together, your playing is going to stay nice and clean, and you're not going to get any of that unwanted string noise.